Thank you. Thank you, Chair and committee members, for inviting Canadian manufacturers and exporters to appear today as part of this study. For the last 154 years, CME has been the voice of Canadian manufacturing, helping Canada's industrial economy grow, compete, and create prosperity in communities across the country. Our sector employs 1.8 million Canadians, generates nearly $850 billion in annual sales, and produces two-thirds of Canada's value-added exports. The driving idea behind NAFTA and later CUSMA is that Canada, the United States, and Mexico can achieve stronger growth and global competitiveness by removing barriers, integrating production, and treating North America as one platform rather than three separate markets. This is no longer a shared belief and has led to U.S. policies that are making North America's industrial base less reliable and less competitive. As a result, Canada will face a difficult negotiating environment in the upcoming review. We must approach it not with defensiveness, but with purpose, to try better position CUSMA as a vehicle to address our shared economic and geopolitical challenges while preserving the core benefits that have fueled continental manufacturing growth. Over the last few weeks, CME has surveyed 250 manufacturers from across the country on the future of the agreement. Here's what we found. 96% of manufacturers support extending the agreement during the 2026 review. Only 3% oppose. 75% indicate a non-renewal in 2026 would negatively impact their business. Only 2% say it would have no impact. Opinions are decided on Canada accepting a baseline tariff. 18% of manufacturers say any baseline tariff would make their business uncompetitive. 13% say they could manage a tariff of up to 2.5%. 25% say they could manage a tariff of up to 5%. Another 24% say they could manage a tariff of up to 10%. Only 2% of manufacturers say they would remain competitive with a tariff rate above 15%. And notwithstanding the reputational and economic damage caused by U.S. actions, a full 88% of manufacturers support increased economic integration in North America. These findings make it clear that even in the face of capricious U.S. trade action, manufacturers want Canada to pursue a pragmatic, solutions-driven approach to Canada-U.S. trade. With these results in mind, I'd like to just very briefly share some of CME's priorities heading into the review. The first and most urgent is to find relief from the unjustified Section 232 tariffs. Thousands of workers have already lost or are at risk of losing their jobs because of these tariffs, and we hope that we can secure a 232 relief through bilateral discussions as soon as possible. The second is to preserve Canada's U.S. market access and the continuity of existing manufacturing supply chains. As obvious as it sounds, preserving production networks that have been built up over decades is essential to encouraging regional investment and keeping high-value manufacturing jobs in North America. The third is to strengthen our shared approach to safeguarding the North American market from unfair trading practices by non-market economies. Canada, the U.S., and Mexico face common threats from subsidized and dumped imports, particularly from China, and we should continue to align on measures to protect North American producers. I want to pause on this point because despite the damaging actions that have been taken towards Canada, we need to remember that a long-term, whole-of-government bipartisan consensus largely exists in the U.S. around the issues of economic and national security vis-a-vis China. Fourth, we need to enhance North American cooperation in energy and critical minerals. We know this is important to the U.S., and a renewed agreement could create an opportunity to align on issues such as permitting, investment incentives, and stockpiling to strengthen continental supply chains and reduce reliance on non-allied sources. Fifth, strengthen the North American defense industrial base. As Canada increases its defense spending, there will be an opportunity for Canada not just to enhance our own sovereign capabilities, but also to strengthen our shared North American defense industrial base. Sixth, rationally assess Canada's own trade irritants and reliability. Canada should re-examine our approach to protected sectors, supply chain reliability, and other border irritants, issues we know are important to the U.S. Seventh, we think there is an opportunity to activate underused CUSMA committees and working groups. Mechanisms in the agreement, such as the Competitiveness Committee and the Good Regulatory Practices Committee, remain largely dormant. They could be used to develop faster, real-time strategic responses to the emerging economic and geopolitical challenges facing our countries. Lastly, we believe that Canada can push to help enhance the compliance mechanisms to address irritants and improve the agreement's functioning. Canada should support stronger, more transparent enforcement tools that ensure all parties meet their obligations. In conclusion, we recognize that Canada's ability to preserve our trade agreement with a partner that views trade as zero-sum will undoubtedly require a number of difficult, high-stakes discussions, decisions, and trade-offs. As we did during the last negotiation, CME will use our seat at the table to help ensure that the interests of Canadian manufacturers and their workers are represented in our efforts to preserve North America as the best place in the world to make things. Thanks, and I look forward to your questions.